This should be a really, really good example of adding cars. So where's our reload zone? There it is. And then we'll flip it around. And what a surprise. Do you want to work a bid at 78.6s? And if this thing just absolutely pukes out in some orgy of panic dump selling, you might just be handed an absolute gift down here somewhere around 50 cents. And that would literally be like this thing losing 2/3 of its value. And, if you haven't been in crypto, maybe you don't even realize how totally normal a massive panic dump like that actually is in this space. It's just business as usual. I've got a bunch of these CELO coins. I don't know where the fuck to sell these things. What some site member, I don't know who it was. I asked Zug if he did it earlier today, and he's like, no, it wasn't me. This is another example of these funny little cryptos that have basically doubled. And if I'm supposed to be the demonstrator of best practices, I mean, you can see I should have sold yesterday at huge doubles. But even if I just even sell it today, I'll still book that double. And I think I should, just because I'm supposed to be the demonstrator of best practices and just do the right thing. So anyway, Eddie, if you can talk over the next day or two, we'll figure out something to do here. Or the thing will zip down below the shot level, and then I'll just forget about it. It's no point in doing anything. But the point here is, am I buying something that looks like that right now? No fucking way. You can't buy that. And I would say, what a surprise. Oh, a bit of red on the screen here. Be careful coming in on the buy side here. Unless, your asset has a really good looking little W working and on some volume, I would be very, very skeptical right now. And frankly speaking, I am. If anything, what I'd love to see on names like this, and I think I've talked to you guys about this recently, is you can see where I originally bought. What do you think the odds are? If I draw reload zones, that we're going to find that the reload zone is basically right at that buy level. So this should be a really, really good example of adding cars. So where's our reload zone? There it is. And then we'll flip it around. And what a surprise. Do you want to work a bid at 78.6s? And if this thing just absolutely pukes out in some orgy of panic dump selling, you might just be handed an absolute gift down here somewhere around 50 cents. And that would literally be like this thing losing 2/3 of its value. And, if you haven't been in crypto, maybe you don't even realize how totally normal a massive panic dump like that actually is in this space. It's just business as usual. So, do yourself a favor. If you did buy down below and you are sitting on doubles, try and pay yourself for your efforts. And then if you want, I think I showed you, I'm sure I have this image in the library, but probably the easiest way to show you this is just pull up the Google search. I like this one because you can clearly see the cars. This is a great opportunity. Let's use this name. I don't know whether I can use this name because I can't trade on Binance, and it turns out that anything and everything that I did on Binance turned out to be an absolute disaster. So the point that I'm just trying to make here is that if you do have these kind of positions, there's a bunch of these that I did sell. Like for instance, this LPT, I think this is a really good example where I'm going to basically try and add another car if this thing does pull back down into bottoms. And hopefully you see that it's basically just going to line up with original buy levels. And the irony of it all is that when I'm buying, the public probably has absolutely no interest whatsoever in buying. So I would be best, and obviously I'm not doing this on Binance, but I would be best to just get my bids working and just be patient. And if you haven't been in this space long enough to realize that markets can very easily come right back down into reload zones, just like that, then maybe you ought to just sit and watch and see what happens over the next few months. But that's what I think is going to happen here. Try and get yourself into a risk-free trade. This is a good example where I am in a risk-free trade, and I suppose I could have sold more on more doubles, but I was just lazy. I just left it at this one trade. And really, if you want to do absolutely nothing and just wait for this next cycle peak, I wouldn't be surprised. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing's up top here. I think it's actually going much, 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 much higher. But, if you want to use that as a, well, Brian, I'm a real big fan of that Wicks and tails and Kendo body highs for trade location. So I'm going to look to try and sell over the next, into that 25, 26 peak. I'm going to look to try and sell up here at $75. as long as you have that risk-free trade on, I couldn't care. If that's your strategy, that's your strategy. The question ultimately is if that is your plan, how good are you at actually sticking to your plan? My plan, as I said there just a moment ago, is I have sold half on a double. I have got my original capital back. I do plan on reloading and adding some more if we come right back down into these reload zones. It's just business as usual.